Okay, this is Vivian, and yeah, I like the wallpaper. I think I like the plants, a nice touch. This is an interesting prop. Um, Looks like you're trying to do a fireplace or something. Might try to stay away from actually doing a live fire, just because that's a whole project in itself. Um, let's take a look at this in Maya. So the wallpaper is mapped on there, okay. I don't know what's going on with the floor here. Uh, So it's a projection texture of that image. I'm wondering, did you project it from the side or something? Um, is it this thing? Oh yeah, it appears to be. Yeah, you projected it from the side for some reason. So I would rotate that facing the floor, and then you could scale it, you know, so that it's. Oh, I see. It's a rug. So yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe like that. Is that about proportional to the character? Something like that. You kind of see the pattern repeating quite a lot. But if the camera's like that, or you know what I mean, you could get away with it, I suppose. It doesn't, yeah, necessarily look like a rug from the side because you don't have the depth to it. But the character is pretty messed up. You might want to use the stock character because this shape is kind of wrong and there's some binding issues and stuff, and there's a lot of issues with his face. Um, this is interesting. Is that yeah, you're gonna want to UV map this because it's just. I don't think you'd want it spiraling around like that, would you? It looks kind of odd. Um, and then this looks pretty stretched out here. You could try to. Is it just the default UV map? Yes, it is. So, I mean, if you look at the size of this wood grain, clearly, that's too, you know, big. We're seeing like that as a matter of inches, and this is like probably a couple feet. So I could grab this UV shell, for example, this piece, and if I scale this up a lot, it makes the wood grain smaller. And so, I mean, that starts to be a little bit more. Can move the seam around to a less obvious spot. It's a little better, I guess. You could try turning it. If you go outside of the area, it just well, then you got the seams going that way. It's repeating, but I don't know. I mean, it's just if you it's maybe not the greatest wood grain for this particular purpose, but just because it's so small, right? It's like the image itself represents an area. Why am I keep selecting that thing? Like when I look at that wood grain image, that looks like something that would represent a small area. So I would go to cgtextures.com or something and download something that's just a bigger area of wood to map on there in the first place. Because if you try to get it to the proper scale, you're going to see it repeat so many times that it's not going to look good. So I think the couch needs some work. I think you're going to want to do some bevels, maybe some smoothing. Um, this looks sort of paper thin, so that looks kind of weird. You might want to give that some thickness. So I think the couch model could use some work. The window frame is very thick. Um, I'm not a fan of booleans as a way to model, but because you're gonna, anyways. But look at the proportions of a real window. They generally don't have this very thick frame on them, so try to get that more proportional. The ceilings are quite tall for a normal house, so you might want to try to get that a little bit more proportional. Let's say, I mean, if he's, let's just say 6 feet tall, this is at least, you know, I don't know, what, 15 feet high, maybe more, 18. Um, but I guess that's not the biggest problem. I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I think, yeah, get the window. Look at a reference for a window and try to match that. Maybe you want to put another window on this wall. Maybe hang some pictures. A few other options, items. If this is a fireplace, I think that's very blocky for a fireplace. Like usually there's some kind of adornment or just a little more shape to it. So again, look at reference images and add to it. So yeah, I think you could do more on this. I think it's sort of generally the right idea, but I think you could take it further and try to improve it.